Alright, so at this point, I'm sure all of us know that Node.js is single-threaded, but yet somehow it manages to handle hundreds of requests without even using threads like Java or Python. How does it stay non-blocking while still doing so much in parallel? It's because of the event loop, and again, I'm sure you know what the event loop is and what exactly it does, but I want us to dive a little deeper. So traditional languages like Java handle concurrency using multiple threads, where each request might even spin up its own new thread. But Node.js somewhat takes a different route. It's built on a single-threaded event loop, and yet it still manages to handle IO-heavy workloads efficiently. This event loop is the core mechanism that lets Node.js do asynchronous stuff in a synchronous-looking way. When you run set timeout or make a database call, Node.js doesn't wait around. It offloads the task, continues running other code, and comes back to your result later. So your call stack will execute your code line by line. Node APIs like HTTP, set timeout, or even file system APIs like reading or writing to a file, all of these tasks are offloaded. Now offloaded to where exactly? Node.js internally uses this library called libuv, which is a C library that manages the thread pool and handles things like file IO or TCP efficiently. But I just said Node.js is single-threaded, so what is this thread pool that libuv manages? I'll come to that in a second. Then there's the callback queue. The async tasks would have a callback that run after the task is complete. These callbacks are queued inside the callback queue. Event loop then continuously checks if the stack is empty, and if it is empty, then pulls the next thing from the callback queue. That's the bird's eye view of the event loop, the call stack, and the callback queue, how all of these things work internally. But now let's get back to libuv. This library handles the lower level async operations using a thread pool abstracted away from you. Think of it as the behind the scenes engine that powers most of Node.js's non-blocking behavior. For example, when you do fs.read file, this is a file system operation that's used to read the contents of a file. Node doesn't directly know how to access the file system asynchronously. Instead, it delegates this task to libuv. Libuv will spin up a new thread from its internal pool to do file reading and then calls back when it's done. So it will give a callback to the Node engine when it's done. So I have opened up libuv's GitHub documentation. You'll see all of these features highlighted over here. Let's go through them quickly. So it has a full featured event loop backed by ePOL, KQ, IOCP, event ports. All of these are just mechanisms provided by different operating systems like Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. Then you have asynchronous TCP and UDP sockets. So TCP, which is a two-way connection, and UDP, which is one-way. libuv can send and receive data over the internet or local network with the help of these socket connections without blocking the program. Then there's asynchronous DNS resolution again. So when you type in, say, google.com, it has to be resolved into an actual IP address for it to load in your browser. Normally DNS resolution pauses your app, but with libuv, DNS lookups happen in the background. So your app keeps running while it figures it out. Then we have asynchronous file system operations. Reading and writing on the disk is slow, and libuv allows file operations to happen in the background so the rest of your app doesn't freeze. I'm sure you get the idea that it has a lot of non-blocking async operational features. You'll also see child processes and thread pool over here. So you do have options to spawn child processes and a pool of threads with libuv. Child processes and threads are different in their own sense, and I'm almost certain that I've made a video on it at some point. So I'll link it in the description if I'm able to find it. But for now, let's see the thread action with an example. So I have a simple Node.js script over here. I'm using the native crypto module to do some heavy cryptographic work. Specifically, it's this function called pbkdf2, a password-based key derivation function. Again, I just want to demonstrate a CPU intensive task, so this is a valid example. I'm saving the current timestamp, which I'll later subtract to calculate how long the operation actually took. Now pbkdf2 is asynchronous, and just like DNS resolution or file system operations, behind the scenes these encryption operations are also offloaded to a thread pool that's managed by libuv and not the main thread. When each of these operations finish, the event loop, which is also part of libuv and not V8 engine, moves the callback for these operations to the call stack inside the V8 engine. Again, it has to check whether there are any operations already present inside the call stack. If that's not the case, if the call stack is empty, only then the callback will be moved to the call stack. V8 engine is then responsible to actually execute the callback function. Now, if I run this, so let me just run node dummy.js. You'll see that 4 out of these 6 operations took almost equal amount of time, but the remaining 2 took way more than that. That's because by default, Node.js has 4 threads in this pool. So in our case, 6 tasks were launched, but only 4 can run in parallel. So the remaining 2 had to wait in a queue, and that's why you see the first 4 finished quickly. They are in the range of 580 to 680 milliseconds, so it's more or less the same. And the last 2, which had to wait for the threads to be free, they executed later once the threads were free. We can also increase the number of threads. So instead of 4, let's say I want 6. I can use this env variable. You can see here that I have uv thread pool size equals to 6 now, which means number of threads inside the thread pool is set to 6. If I use this now and run the script, so you'll see that now it's all in the same range. The remaining 2 threads don't have to wait for anything. The syntax over here is a little tricky because it's Windows, but normally in a Node.js app, you'll set this particular command inside the script section of the package.json anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I need to bring across one point. Just because we can increase the number of threads to solve the scaling problem doesn't mean it's actually good for your system. It's actually going to help you with performance. Threads at the end of the day do share memory, so too many can cause crashes in your application. There's actually a sweet spot for the number of threads based on the number of cores in your system. You can just Google it later and set the size to that number based on your system configuration. Now, Node.js since version 10.5.0 has native support for worker threads, where you can control what runs in parallel, but they're not commonly used in typical Node.js apps unless you're doing some CPU intensive work. To understand why though, we need to look at Node's design philosophy. So Node.js was originally built for handling lot of concurrent IO operations. So what I mean by this is serving HTTP requests, reading or writing to a disk, talking to databases, or even streaming files. All of these come under concurrent IO operations. These are IO bound and not CPU bound. So the bottleneck is waiting for things and not computing things. Computing things would come under CPU bound. So instead of spinning up new threads, Node will just say that I'll handle something else while I wait. The event-driven single-threaded model is perfect for scenarios like these. Now, worker threads will primarily be used for CPU-bound tasks. So when I say CPU-bound tasks, I mean image processing, compression, complex math algorithms, crypto operations. These things block the main thread and can freeze up your application if not handled off the main event loop. In those cases, you can spin up a worker thread like in Java and do the heavy lifting in parallel. But here's the thing. Most backend apps written in Node don't do this kind of CPU heavy work. They normally delegate these to services, external services, CDNs, databases. So what I mean by this is, let's say your app gets a request that looks like, send me 10 latest posts from your database. Now what happens is your server receives the request, which is a network IO operation. Then you query the database, which is a database IO operation. You actually format the result, which is a CPU task. It's a small CPU task. And then you send the response back, which again is a network IO operation. So you can see here that most of the work is just waiting on IO. There's no CPU computation here. Only the actual format operation of the result is a minor CPU computation. Otherwise, it's all just waiting. So even for tasks like logging users to a database, uploading files to a cloud service like S3 or Cloudinary, sending emails, rendering PDFs or rendering any kind of documents, all of these are again IO operations for which the main thread just has to wait. So you're not doing the heavy lifting here. You're just asking other services to do it, then just handling the data. In contrast, CPU heavy apps would be things like image filters or compression, running AI models locally. That is a very CPU heavy operation. Converting videos to different formats. Then there's big data. All of these are CPU heavy operations. These are not common in your typical web backend, and when they are needed, people usually offload them to a service written in a lower level language or deploy it as a background job in languages like Python, Rust, or Go. So I hope this made sense and I was able to get my point across. You can literally achieve the same kind of multi-threading in Node.js. It's a myth that Node.js is single-threaded. It is, yes, but it uses libuv behind the scenes, which has a thread pool. So it's just that Node was built for heavy IO scenarios since it's designed around the event loop, and Java on the other hand has a lot more native multi-threading features baked in because it was built with the intention of handling more CPU intensive work along with basic IO work. That's why you would see CPU intensive operations being delegated from a Node service to a Java service or any other language built for that purpose. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you have any other ideas in mind, put them in the comments and I'll see you in the next one.